Last team in the East, the Braves. The Atlanta Braves projected 100.8 wins, 61.2 losses. They won 104 games last year. 104 games last year, the best regular season total. But that does not mean they're going to win that World Series by any means. I think only once out of the last 7 or 8 years has the best regular season team won the World Series. Who did they lose this offseason? They lost Eddie Rosario, Jesse Chavez, Brad Hand, Colby Allard, Kevin Pillar, Michael Tonkin, Kirby Yates, Ehire Adrianza, and Yanni Chirinos. They brought in Ken Giles, and they brought in Jared Kelenic and David Fletcher, Luis Guillorme. Some good players, man. They brought in Chris Sale, Reynaldo Lopez they're actually thinking of stretching out Reynaldo Lopez to be a starter. Let's look at their lineup from top to bottom. You're looking at Ronald Acuna Jr. In right field, Ozzie Albies at second base, Austin Riley, third base, Matt Olson, first base, Marcelo Zuna at the DH, center fielder Michael Harris, catcher Sean Murphy, left fielder Jared Kelenic, and shortstop Orlando Arcia. In the starting rotation, they're going to have Spencer Strider, Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Chris Sale, and Reynaldo Lopez. Per Fangraphs projection, I know they're battling for the 5th spot of that rotation. They're going to have some guys battling it out. I don't see Reynaldo Lopez being in the rotation. I see him more of a bullpen piece and a starter if someone goes down or they need a spot start somewhere. And in the bullpen, they have Raisel Iglesias, AJ Minter, Joe Jimenez, Pierce Johnson, Tyler Matzik coming back from injury, I believe. Aaron Bummer, they brought in from the White Sox, I forgot to mention. Daysbel Hernandez is fighting for a spot, as well as Jackson Stevens in the bullpen. What can go right for these Braves? Basically doing exactly what they did last year by hitting a ton of home runs. I know there has been an issue so far developing over the last couple of days about Ronald Acuna Jr. His knee has inflammation. They're flying him to LA to get looked at by his doctor. They think he's going to be ready for opening day. I would hate for him to miss any significant time. A player like that is just electric. 40-70 season last year. Just wild. It's going to be fun to see if anyone in the league does that ever. It's going to be fun to see. It's going to be really fun to see if anyone in the league does that in the near future. A couple guys out there that I think have the potential to, but that is something for a later date we can talk about. What else has to go right? Sean Murphy having a first half like he did instead of the second half he did last year, where he was really, really bad. If he can give you what you got from him in the first month, that could be tremendous. Same thing with Orlando Arcia. He did well enough in the first half to be voted to the All-Star game. Fan voting, whether it's good or bad, is a discussion for another date, but I don't like it. So I guess I just have opened up that discussion, but that's all I'm going to say about it for right now. If Jared Kelenic lives up to, the hype, I don't need him to be the dude that everyone thought he was going to be. I think I saw somewhere that they thought Jared Kelenic could be the next Mike Trout, which is just a ridiculous thing to say about anyone. There's a ridiculous amount of pressure to be put on someone when they say that. But Jared Kelenic, if Jared Kelenic does what he did in the first couple months last year, and he develops a little bit more, he's only 24 years old. He's going to turn 25 later this year. He still has a ton of potential. Love to see what he can do this year. And all that happens, like, this lineup is just amazing from top to bottom. Your weaker hitters are Kelenic and Arcia. Michael Harris had an amazing year after the slow start he had last year. You got a solid backup catcher in Travis d'Arnaud who can fill in. David Fletcher, Luis Guillorme, Forrest Wall, all decent pieces off the bench. Also, the rotation. Spencer Strider developed a curveball. Wow. That is just, he already had 2 amazing pitches. If that curveball is a good pitch, then he's going to be even more dangerous. Max Fried, Charlie Morton, if they stay healthy. Same thing with Chris Sale. If they stay healthy for the majority of the year, they have a great top end of the rotation. That's a great rotation in general. And if they can get anything decent out of guys like, if they really do plan on using Reynaldo Lopez to start in the 5th spot of that rotation, which I don't think is likely. I think it's going to be more of a Bryce Elder who was an all-star last year, but he was just miserable in the second half. Maybe an AJ Smith-Shawver is back at the fifth spot of that rotation. If they get anything consistent from that fifth starter, which was a huge issue for them last year, that is a huge win for that team and could propel them to over 100 wins again. And they did that last year. It's hard to say if their lineup can keep it going, because like, where do you go from there? Where do you go from there? They tied the home run record. So they either have to tie a record or break it to progress as a lineup. As far as the power department, the home run department, there's more ways you can improve as a team other than hitting home runs, but home runs are not a bad thing. So it would just take a lot for them to do better as a whole. Like, where do you go from there? So I think the pitching side of things, having a healthier rotation. Charlie Morton missed some time. Max Fried missed a lot of time. Chris Sale always has the potential to miss time, but he finished last year healthy, and he had the first healthy offseason he's had in quite some time. And the age could be a factor here. Max Fried is 30, which is not really that old as a pitcher. Like I was talking about with the Phillies age sort of situation, pitchers just age differently. Chris Sale is 35. Charlie Morton's 40 though. So that could be a thing. That could be a thing. And what could go wrong for this team though? What could go wrong for this team? Ronald Acuna Jr.'s knee actually being an issue. That could be a major thing going wrong for your MVP of the team, MVP of the league. That's a huge thing. Matt Olson kind of doesn't have as great of a year as last year. He had 54 home runs last year. He is he's always had like the kind of up and down situation, but he's entering his prime. Hopefully, or he's already been in his prime, of course, but hopefully he doesn't do the whole up and down situation like we've seen a little bit from him. Sean Murphy not being as good as the first half Sean Murphy. If it's closer to the second half Sean Murphy, that's a very bad thing, although he's still going to be amazing with the glove. If Jared Kelenic doesn't start off well, if Orlando Arcia doesn't have a good year, as good of a year as he had last year, those could be major issues. As well as Max Fried being hurt. He could get hurt again. You would hate for him to miss any significant amount of time. And if he gets hurt, if he gets hurt and Chris Sale both get hurt and Charlie Morton's out with an injury, that is a huge depth situation in that rotation that could go wrong. Of course you don't want to see it. Of course you don't want to see that. You never want to see anyone get hurt, but it just it happens all the time. It happens all the time, and in a lot of cases, it's unrealistic to expect your starting rotation not to get hit with an injury at some point. Now, how severe that injury is going to be up in the air, you don't know, but someone's probably going to miss some time at some point. But I think the whole reason they brought in Chris Sale was hopefully they have him for a healthy postseason run, which this team is primed for. They're in their window right now, and their window is looking to last a very long time. As far as wins, how many wins do I think they get? How many wins? I don't know what I want to say for this. 100 is just it's so tough to win 100 games, especially when there's so much randomness in baseball. There's so much randomness, but they have one of the best teams in baseball, if not the best balanced team. I know the Dodgers, you can absolutely say the Dodgers are the best team in baseball, and you're probably right. But I think Atlanta is right up there. The balanced rotation, or not the balanced rotation, the balanced lineup from top to bottom, I feel like is just insane. And their starting rotation, their pitching staff as a whole, when healthy, is right up there. It's right up there as one of the better, if not one of the best, as far as the starting rotation goes right now. But you know what? I'm going to say they win exactly 100 games. I think exactly 100 is a solid spot for them. They won 104 last year. It's just tough it's so hard for them to be as good as they were last year. I think there's going to be a little bit of regression in the win column. I think 100 games is right. I mean, if you regress to 100 games, is that really a loss though? Is that really a loss? But I'm going to say 100 games. But anyway, I think that is going to do it for me this first episode of the Inside Pitch podcast. Make sure to follow if you like what you hear, like what you see. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to go check out my main channel on YouTube, The Show Noob. Do a lot more like high edited baseball videos of lately. Oh my God. Happy birthday to Nick Castellanos, by the way. I didn't even notice that until just now, but happy birthday, Nick Castellanos. Great to have a March birthday. Great to have a March birthday. But anyway, make sure to subscribe, follow. Let me know what your thoughts are on everything we've discussed. Let me know where you agree or disagree. I'm absolutely open to having discussions. I'm definitely looking to grow my knowledge. I've just been starting this IRL baseball sort of situation over the last couple months, and I'm by no means an expert in a lot of things. So I just would love to have discussions, would love to keep expanding my knowledge. So let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time. We'll go over the NL Central. We'll just run through the divisions. I'm excited to talk about that. Until next time, y'all have a great day. Later.